So, picture this. The world is ending, the sky is red, the cities are on fire, and a truly hideous army of monsters with glowing red eyes is having the world's most violent block party. People are screaming, buildings are crumbling. It's your standard Tuesday apocalypse, and we're dropped right in the middle of it. Amidst the chaos, we zoom in on the main event, a ridiculously cool-looking warrior with long white hair named Eos, who has the unfortunate job title of the Empire's strongest swordsman. He's currently finding out that title is up for debate, because he's getting his butt handed to him by our main character, the Death Knight. Eos is swinging his giant sword like his life depends on it, which it does, but the Death Knight is just built different. Eos lands a massive hit that shatters the Death Knight's helmet, and for a second you think, he did it! But nope, the Death Knight doesn't even flinch. Eos just pants and goes, phew, incredible, which is ancient hero speak for, I am so screwed. So who's the mastermind behind this whole world-ending shindig? We pan up to a skeletal figure in a spooky cloak looking down on the destruction like he's watching his favorite movie. This is Archlich Dorgo, and he is having the time of his life. He goes on this whole villain monologue about his 1,000-year-old revenge plan finally coming to fruition. Then, in the single greatest panel of the chapter, this ancient, all-powerful lich throws up a peace sign and declares, "Ha! I've unified the entire continent. Being called emperor is hardly too much." You just have to appreciate the sheer audacity. The old emperor, who's still alive, starts screaming about all his dead people, and Dorgo is just like, how sweet. Cold-blooded. He then calls over his generals, the Demon Kings, and his favorite pet, the Death Knight, and tells him to bring over the imperial crown for his coronation. This is where Dorgo makes his big mistake. He gets cocky. He pats the Death Knight on the head and says, "Ooh, my most loyal knight, how should I reward you?" before immediately answering himself with, "That was a foolish question. You are my slave. Serving me is the greatest reward of..." He doesn't get to finish because the Death Knight suddenly crushes the crown in his gauntlet and zaps Dorgo with a blast of energy. The Demon Kings are shocked. Dorgo's clutching his chest, screaming, "I had my defense on! How did he harm me?" And for the first time, we hear the Death Knight's real voice. "Finally, I'm moving by my own will." Boom, flashback time. It turns out the Death Knight was actually a hero. Dorgo captured him, erased his mind, and trapped his consciousness inside his own body. For 1,000 years, he's been a helpless passenger, forced to watch as Dorgo used his hands to slaughter millions. We see this heartbreaking panel of his soul curled up in a red void while a four-eyed demon looms over him. It's a rough millennium. Back in the present, Dorgo's freaking out. He yells, "I erased your consciousness completely!" The Death Knight just coldly replies, "It only looked that way. I was watching everything." Dorgo, in a weird mix of rage and pride, calls him his greatest masterpiece and basically says, "Okay, have your little tantrum, I'll take back control eventually." But the Death Knight isn't here for a tantrum. He's here for payback. With a single explosive release of dark energy, he completely obliterates all of the Demon Kings at once. Just poof, gone. Stunned by this insane display of power, Dorgo does the only thing a cornered villain can do. He raises an even bigger army. From the very ground, thousands of undead creatures claw their way to the surface. The chapter ends on this epic shot. Our hero, finally free, standing alone against a literal army of darkness, ready to start his real fight.
Okay, so we just left our hero, the Death Knight, about to fight an army of the undead. Chapter 2 hits us with the most jarring scene change possible. We're ripped from the apocalypse and thrown into what looks like a stuffy, old-timey family drama. We meet our main character before he was a nigh unstoppable killing machine. His name is Damien, and to put it mildly, he was a bit of a screw-up. His dad is screaming at him, "You've truly gone insane," and we quickly learn why. Through a series of flashbacks, Damien sarcastically lists his talents. First, the talent for ruining the family's honor, which apparently involved getting into a bar fight with the son of a powerful noble. Second, the talent for destroying the family's future, as we see his poor sister being shipped off in a carriage to marry some guy she despises to clean up Damien's mess. And the grand finale, the talent for losing all their money by using the family land as collateral for a loan he couldn't pay back. The result of this impressive resume of failure, his dad screams "leave" and kicks him out. The only person who shows him any kindness is his sister, who, even as her own life is ruined, gives him a bag of money and tells him to be happy. It's a gut punch of a moment. He runs off, finally understanding what guilt feels like. And then everything just kind of stops. Damien finds himself kneeling in a peaceful field, back in his old, weak human body. He's been sent back in time. It's a miracle, a second chance. He tries to use one of his old, badass Death Knight techniques, but his body is so feeble he can barely muster a spark. Before he can figure things out, a servant finds him and tells him his dad is furious and wants him home. He walks back into his house to find a scene of perfect déjà vu. His father is mid-swing with a sword, ready to punish him, with his mother and sister desperately holding him back. He's returned to the exact moment his life fell apart. But this time, Damien is different. He's got 1,000 years of trauma and battle experience in his head. His family is stunned by his calm demeanor. When his father demands an excuse for his behavior, instead of making pathetic excuses like he used to, Damien just looks him in the eye and says, "I have none." He takes full responsibility for everything, bows, and promises to fix his mistakes. Then he just calmly walks out, leaving his family utterly bewildered. Their only logical conclusion is that he must have hit his head really, really hard. Damien's redemption tour begins immediately. He heads straight for the city of Landwork, back to the scene of his first crime, the tavern where the fight started. And waiting for him at the door are the very same thugs who beat him up. They draw their knives and sneer, "We warned you not to show your face a second time." They have no idea who they're talking to.
Right, so we left off with Damien about to throw down with some low-level thugs. The chapter kicks off with a scream, and we see our boy Damien has already taken down one of the goons and is in a standoff with the other. This guy, with a truly awful snake tattoo on his arm, puffs out his chest and declares, "No one's ever got away with messing with us, the Black Snake." Damien just gives him a look. Yes, I finally remember. Black Snake. It turns out this is the very gang that beat him up in his past life. They were a bunch of small-time crooks who ran a protection racket, and this bar was their headquarters. When the old Damien complained about being overcharged, they publicly humiliated him, beating him until he begged for mercy. Now that I think about it, the new and improved Damien thinks, a very scary smile on his face, I'm the one who should be receiving an apology here, no? The thug, who is not the sharpest knife in the drawer, doesn't pick up on the murderous intent and just charges in, swinging his sword like a maniac. But this isn't the old Damien. He's got 1,000 years of combat experience, and even in this weak body, he's a master. He sidesteps, trips the guy, and in a flash has a knife to his throat. He takes out the other thugs just as quickly. His movement's so fast and efficient, it's like he's swatting flies. He's a little out of breath, which is a new and annoying experience for him, but he's got bigger fish to fry. Just as he's about to deal with the last of them, a new figure appears on the balcony above. It's the bar owner, a sleazy-looking guy with a ridiculous mustache. He's shocked to see his entire security force taken out by one kid. Damien explains that he's here for an apology. He lays out the whole story of how they scammed him and ruined his family's reputation. The owner just scoffs. From what I've heard, the Vice County of Hoxton doesn't even have any more honor to lose, no? Wrong thing to say. I was going to forgive you, Damien says, his voice dropping to a dangerously low whisper. But if this is how you're willing to play, then so be it. He lunges, ready to end it. But he's intercepted. A mysterious cloaked figure appears out of nowhere, blocking his attack. It's Sir Ted, a hired knight, and he's on a whole other level than the thugs. The chapter ends with Damien in a standoff with this new, far more dangerous opponent. The real fight just getting started.
In a world where martial prowess is everything, knights are ranked from the lowly trainee to the awe-inspiring official knight. The difference is aura. the ability to channel one's life force into devastating attacks that can shatter mountains and topple castle walls. These are not mere soldiers, they are transcendent beings. Back in the tavern, the sleazy owner Anderson is cackling with glee. His ace in the hole, the mysterious Sir Ted, is an apprentice knight, a warrior who can wield this very power. "You guys are as good as dead now," he gloats. Damien, however, is unfazed. He had already sensed the faint traces of aura, and now he understands. Ted isn't a true master. He's a washout, a failed knight now working as hired muscle for a criminal gang. Enraged by Damien's calm dismissal, Ted leaps from the balcony, his sword glowing with a faint turquoise light. "I'll rip apart that mouth of his first," he snarls. What follows is a beautiful, brutal ballet of violence. Ted is fast, his movements powered by a nascent aura, but Damien is faster. He's a ghost, a phantom, his movements so economical and precise that he seems to be in multiple places at once. He is a grand master in a novice's body, and even with his weakened state, he is more than a match for this arrogant apprentice. Pushed to his limit, Ted unleashes his ultimate attack, a secret technique that is a focused, devastating thrust of pure aura. But as the attack screams towards him, Damien sees not a killing blow, but a memory, a flashback to a battle from his past life against a legendary assassin, the master of the Blade of Death. It is a technique that allows the user to slice through a person as if they were made of water. And as Ted's attack descends, Damien meets it with the very same move. The result is a shower of sparks and a look of pure, unadulterated shock on Ted's face. He has been defeated by his own technique, his body crumpling to the floor in a broken heap. From the balcony, Anderson can only stare, his jaw slack, his face a mask of terror. He has just witnessed the impossible. Damien stands over the fallen knight, his own eyes glowing with a faint red light. And then the most dramatic reveal of all. After I became a Death Knight, I obtained a great ability. The ability to absorb my enemy's abilities and skills and make them mine. The bar owner, his ace now a broken mess on the floor, immediately prostrates himself, begging for forgiveness. He offers Damien a chest full of gold and jewels, but for Damien, it is not enough. The money almost forgot about the punishment, and with a swift, brutal motion, he slices off the bar owner's ears. "Go tell this to the Black Snake," he commands, his voice a low, chilling whisper. "If you lay a hand on any of my family, I won't let you get away with it." As he walks away, his pockets full and his vengeance served, Damien looks back at the scene of his first victory in this new life. He knows it will not wash away his past sins, but it is a start. But the story is not over. In the opulent mansion of the Lionbloom family, a new threat is brewing. The very noble that Damien had assaulted in his past life, the act that set his family's ruin in motion, looks at his reflection with a deeply unsettling smile. "I'm going to find love." His words a chilling promise of the chaos to come.
The sun rises on the Haxon estate, and for the first time in what feels like a literal eternity, Damien has had a good night's sleep. His servant, Victor, on the other hand, looks like he spent the night wrestling a ghost. "I'm jealous," Victor mutters, his eyes wide with post-traumatic stress. "I was so worried, I couldn't sleep a wink." He then starts having flashbacks to the previous day's carnage, helpfully reminding us that one arm flew away, 2 legs flew away. Damien, with the serene calm of a man who has caused far more dismemberment in his time, just shrugs. "Didn't everything work out?" he asks. Sure, things went a little off the rails, but they came back with a mountain of gold and a renewed sense of purpose. More importantly, he started a rumor that the good-for-nothing son of the Viscount is not to be trifled with. Victor, ever the worrier, is still fretting about the Black Snake. Damien, however, is not concerned. "Even if they do, I'll stop them," he says with a confidence that is both terrifying and deeply reassuring. Their little heart-to-heart is interrupted by the sound of a charging bull, which turns out to be Damien's father, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated rage. "Damien, you brat!" he roars, ready to finish the job he started the day before. But Damien, ever the strategist, has a plan. "Victor, show him." And the loyal servant presents the mountain of gold and the recovered land deed. The Viscount's rage evaporates in an instant, replaced with a look of pure, unadulterated greed. "Holy money!" he exclaims, his eyes bulging. Damien, with a straight face, explains that he simply went back to the tavern and cleared up the misunderstanding. Apparently, the math was wrong. His parents, blessed at simple, greedy hearts, buy it hook, line, and sinker. With his family's financial future secured, Damien can finally focus on the real threat, the impending return of the Archlich, Dorgo. A few years from now, the undead that bastard created will appear in this world. Before that happens, I have to gain the strength to kill him. His training begins with a small, glowing vial of purple liquid, a rare and expensive tonic from the Alchemy Academy, that he liberated from the tavern owner. He drinks it and a surge of potent energy courses through him. "This stuff's potent," he grins. He is on the path to reclaiming his former power, and he is enjoying every minute of it. Meanwhile, in the shadowy underbelly of Landwork, the consequences of Damien's actions are beginning to ripple outward. The boss of the Black Snake, the grotesquely obese Cedric Walker, looks at the broken form of his hired knight, Ted. "He's useless now," he says with a chilling indifference. "Forget it. Dump him." But as Ted is dragged away, a new player enters the game. A mysterious cloaked figure offers the broken knight a deal, a chance for revenge. Ted, his loyalty to the Black Snake shattered, accepts. But the stranger is not interested in simple revenge. He is a servant of a far darker power, and he has a contract to fulfill. He unleashes a torrent of dark, sinister energy, a vortex of swirling shadows and one-eyed monsters that consumes the unfortunate Ted. The chapter ends on this chilling note of dark magic and broken promises. A new, far more dangerous enemy has entered the game, and Damien, in his quest to protect his family, may have just unleashed a monster of his own.
Damien, our resident 1,000-year-old edgelord, in the middle of a seriously intense workout. He's doing push-ups with what look like giant novelty-sized salt and pepper shakers strapped to his back, and he's sweating like he's just run a marathon. The magic protein shake he stole from the bar owner is working wonders, but he's still got a long way to go before he's back to his world-ending apocalypse-class form. He's a little confused, though. It's been days since he dismantled the Black Snake gang, and he was expecting some kind of retaliation. A strongly worded letter, a fruit basket with a bomb in it, something. But it's been nothing but crickets. As he's pondering this, a rustle in the bushes sends him into full-on combat mode. He whirls, his hand lashing out with the speed of a striking cobra, and he chokeslams his own brother. Abel, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated terror, can only squeak out a strangled brother. Damien, realizing he's just about given his nerdy little brother a heart attack, immediately lets go. "I didn't mean to," he says, which is probably what every older brother says after accidentally putting his sibling in a headlock. Abel, ever the responsible one, is not there for a friendly chat. He's heard the rumors about the brawl at the tavern and is here to deliver a lecture. "You can fool the others, but not me," he declares, wagging his finger like a disappointed schoolteacher. "Don't do anything that might look bad for our family." Damien, with the long-suffering patience of a man who has seen entire civilizations rise and fall, just pats his brother on the head. "Yes, you were always diligent," he says, with a smile that's probably a little too sharp around the edges. "Don't worry, nothing bad will happen now." Right on cue, Victor, their servant, comes running in screaming about bad news. It's a classic sitcom moment, except with more swords and the looming threat of financial ruin. They rush back to the estate to find the source of all their problems, the smarmy, punchable-faced Erwin Lionbloom, just chilling on their sofa. He's here to collect on a debt of honor, which apparently can be paid off with hand of Damien's sister, Louise. The Viscount, Damien's father, is having a full-blown panic attack. He's caught between a rock and a "my daughter is now the property of a lecherous noble" place. But before he can make a decision, Louise, in a move of pure, heartbreaking self-sacrifice, says, "I'll accept that offer." Erwin is ecstatic. He turns to Damien, his face a mask of smug victory. "Damien, do you have something to say? Or should I call you brother-in-law?" We see Damien rushing to his sister's room, only to find the smarmy, punchable-faced Erwin Lineblue manhandling her. He's grabbing her by the hair, calling her family insects, and generally being the kind of guy you'd love to see trip down a long flight of stairs. Old Damien, being a hot-headed idiot, saw this and immediately threw a punch. It was the punch that started the avalanche that buried his family. The new and improved Damien, watching this memory unfold, thinks to himself, "I shouldn't have fallen for his provocation." He knows this is the moment everything went wrong. He has 1,000 years of wisdom and experience. He knows he needs to be calm, to be strategic. Anyway, he punches him. The sound of fist meeting face is incredibly satisfying. Erwin goes flying and his 2 goon squad guards rush in. Erwin, clutching his now bleeding face, is furious, not just because he got punched, but because he got punched twice. The sheer audacity! He draws his sword, ready to turn Damien into a noble shish kebab. "You must truly want to die, brother-in-law," he snarls. But Damien steps in front of his terrified sister. "It's okay, Louise. I'll deal with it," he says, his voice a calm that is completely out of place in this chaos. "Stop sacrificing yourself for me." Then he turns to the enraged noble and says the 5 most insane words he could possibly choose. "Let's have a duel." Everyone in the room just stops. A duel? The good-for-nothing Hexen boy challenging a Lionbloom, a prodigy who's basically already an official knight? It's like a chihuahua challenging a bear to a boxing match. Erwin, after a moment of stunned silence, bursts out laughing. He thinks Damien has lost his mind. He says, "Fine, I'll use this to cripple you and take your sister." So, they all head out to the courtyard. Damien's family looks on, their faces a perfect picture of "we are so screwed." Erwin stands there with his fancy jewel-encrusted sword. He asks, "How are you going to face me without a sword?" And Damien, with the deadpan confidence of a man who has seen the actual apocalypse, pulls out his weapon of choice, a dinner fork. The silence is deafening. His father looks like he's about to have a full-blown aneurysm. Erwin just stares and then howls with laughter. "A fork? You must have lost your mind due to fear." The duel begins. Erwin undishes his family's signature move, the fierce, roaring lion's sword. It's flashy, it's powerful, and it sends a giant roaring lion head of pure energy hurtling towards Damien. It carves a trench in the ground, and Damien just sidesteps it, easily. Erwin is stunned. How did he dodge that? The reason, as Damien's inner monologue helpfully explains, is that in his past life, he fought and killed Erwin's older brother, Michael, who was way stronger and actually knew how to use the family sword techniques properly. He's seen all these moves before, and frankly, he's not impressed. Erwin, thinking it was a fluke, attacks again, this time with an even bigger blast of aura. But Damien is ready. He pulls out a technique he learned from another poor soul he killed in his past life, the Sword Saint. He meets the blast of pure energy head-on. There's a massive explosion of light, and when the dust settles, the impossible has happened. The tip of Erwin's sword is caught perfectly between the tines of Damien's fork. The look on Erwin's face is priceless. He is utterly, completely broken. With a final contemptuous flick of the wrist, he disarms him, the fork now held to his throat. The good-for-nothing son has just defeated a prodigy with a piece of cutlery. The game has changed.